This is Beyond with Heather Tesch, where we examine near-death experiences and life itself, hopefully making this life a little better. My guest today is Donna Rebadow. Donna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Heather.
I really appreciate it. You had an incredible near-death experience. Can you take us back to the day that it happened?
Sure. It was July 17th, 1998. I was with my family up on a lake in the Adirondacks. I'm from Western New York, so it's in Upper New York State. And the family, we had the cabin for about a week, and we wanted to do some fishing and lake sports, and it was just a relaxing time. So the boat itself is it's not a regular fishing boat. It's like a combo boat with a couple of, it had twin motors that were pretty powerful. So we got on what's called a lake toy. So I wasn't water skiing, but it's towed around the lake with a regular tow rope, but we're on an inflatable raft. And it was my turn. It was my sister and I was in front, and she was behind me on what we call a bullet, which is a lake toy with pontoons. And so it was just regular stuff, Heather. We were being drug around the lake. You know, my brother-in-law thought it would be fun. You know, the idea is to knock yourself off.
Yes.
So he knocked us off. And we've been out, I don't know how long we were out, but a couple of unique things happened that were physically impossible. And one had to do with the boat. And that is, the boat that he had a torque screw on the bottom that they torque wrench it in every spring before you go out on the lake. And that's to prevent any water from coming on board. There was my brother-in-law, his nephew, and a baby on the boat, and my sister and I on the lake toy. We got thrown off, we get back on the boat, and what happens is when you're on the boat, from the boat you get onto the bullet, this lake toy. And my sister lets loose of the rope, and so we start drifting away from the boat until we're at the end of the rope. And at that point, we hear my brother-in-law yell, "Get off the bullet! The boat is sinking." Like, boat can't sink. Can't even take on water. How is it sinking? So I said, this is happening so fast. And I looked behind me to see which way my sister was going to throw the tow rope. So she throws it to the left, and we have our life jackets on, and we both get into the lake, into the water on the right. And it means that this lake toy drifts now in between the sight line of my brother-in-law and the two of us. And it's all happening like within splits. I mean, these are seconds that are going on. And I look down, and I see the rope around my leg, and it's a nylon tow rope. It can't sink. How did it get below the water? And then how did it get wrapped around my leg? And I'm sitting there going, what's going on? And I hear the boat start. And I knew, he doesn't see me. This is going to be a tremendous amount of pain. And he takes off. And the tow rope strangles my leg to the bone above the knee. And I'm being dragged or drug underwater. And I just went, oh my gosh. I'm being drugged back this way. And I was trying to think like MacGyver. How can I get out of this? There's no way I can get out of this. I can't reach down. I don't have a knife. And the power of the boat is I'm being drugged through the water, so it's hitting my chest. The water's hitting my chest with such power that it's knocking the air bubbles. I can see air bubbles leaving my chest, and I'm thinking this way, Heather. I'm thinking, I really could use that air. It's leaving me, and I'm going, really gonna need that. And no one knows I'm here. I mean, my brother-in-law doesn't know I'm here. Then it's a real near-death experience when someone says something like, now I know how I'm going to die, because I knew I was going to die because I was going to drown. then I started thinking, I wonder where they're going to have the funeral. Will they have it in New York? I live in Arizona. I just started thinking, I wonder what's going to happen here. When all of a sudden, I left my body, this strange feeling of leaving my body. So it felt like there was a saran wrap, kind of a very thin veil. It actually felt like I'm going through this veil. And what I'm about to explain is there's no concepts here for what really happened to me over there. So I'm going to use vocabulary and concepts to the best of my ability. So the first thing was, oh, there's no time over here. I'm in eternity. This is very strange. I never thought that would happen. I never thought that a human being could know the difference between time and eternity. And the sensation is I don't have a body and I'm dead, but if I'm going to describe it as if I have a body, and it felt like all the cells in my body, the trillions of cells, they felt like they were all giggling. I don't know, it's just the weirdest thing. And they're vibrating, and I'm going, what are you guys doing? So I'm kind of looking down, but I obviously I don't have eyes. I can't see. I don't have a body. But I'm looking down, and I'm going, what are you guys doing? And they're like, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. And I don't know what they're saying. It's happening so fast. And I feel like I was looking at the edge of the earth, and as if somebody was going to come up. And I realized then that it was the creator of the universe. And I was just blown away. I'm like, now I knew why all my cells were excited. Oh my God, oh my God. And I started looking back down to earth, what I thought was earth. And I started turning my head like, oh man, are those guys going to be okay with me being dead? It just was a concern for my family when I heard, and you don't hear like with hearing, it's more like telepathy, and it's more like you get a package of information in your brain, and it unpacks. And I heard, don't be afraid. And so Heather, it's happening like this. I'm looking back and I hear, don't be afraid. And I turn back, and then it's like everything on earth disappeared, or I didn't have a concern about that anymore. And it feels like I'm flying or I'm moving up toward to now have a visit with the creator of the universe. And I'm just like, oh my God. And the feeling was just remarkable. And so what began happening was there was telepathic messages coming into my head that felt like this way, and love being shot through my body this way. And it was bliss. It was this love of like safety and security and being hugged. And the creator of the universe was, I sensed, it seemed like it was a big electrical, it felt very electric. And it felt like I got to go up to Alaska and to be around the Aurora Borealis. So it felt like that. It felt like this big wave of energy and then the universes started opening up. I mean, it was just like this expanse of forever. And then the creator of the universe started talking to me. And I used the pronoun he, but it's not a he, she. It's the creator of the universe. And I know everybody's got a big deal with pronouns, but that's the best way that I can describe who I'm talking to. And the telepathy is immediate. So as I started thinking it, I could hear God, and I say God, so creator of the universe, God, saying to me, I'm saying, you are the creator of the universe. And he says, I am the creator of the universe. I mean, how do you have that conversation? How do you do that? So I was like, wow. I go, you know everything. And he's like, at the same time, I mean, as I'm having this thought, the thought's like coming back to me. And it was like, I am the creator of the universe. I go, you know everything. And he goes, I know everything. And he says to me, and I say he, again, you guys know that what I mean by that. He says, I even know the number of grains of sand on a beach in New Zealand. And I go rocketing down to this beach in New Zealand. I feel like my eye is up against this grain of sand. And I immediately knew the number of grains of sand on this beach. And I'm like, oh my God. And I go rocketing back up to be in his presence. And all kinds of things began happening then. I knew the name that he called me, not Donna, but my name that he uses for me. And everybody wants to know that name. And I'm not going to tell the name because it's so sacred. I mean, there's things that people have to understand about sacredness. And so we're having this conversation, and I started getting revealed to me all kinds of things about how things work. And I'm just like, oh my, this is just unbelievable. The knowledge, the love, the care, and there was no time. So people ask me, how long did you drown? How long were you there? And my sister and I we don't know. It wasn't a half hour. It wasn't 15 minutes. We don't know how long I was dead. And this is going on. This information and this love is going on. And then all I can tell you is that I had a feeling of movement, and all of a sudden there wasn't movement. So I would say that I came to a stop, but I don't know what that means. And it was like God saying, well, Donna, even though he used my real name, what do you want to do here? So I have 5 college degrees, and one of them is in psychology. So when I was doing my major in psychology, it was at the time when we did active listening. So the rest of my life, you do active listening, and you go, so what I hear you saying, Heather, is this what you're saying? I say it back to you. So I began doing active listening with God, the creator of the universe. And I say back to him, so God, is what I hear you saying is that you want to know if I want to not live or die, but continue over here where there's a line or a feeling like, well, over there's dead. And even though I'm dead, it's like, but I'm not in the dead. I have a chance of going back. And he said, so is what you're saying is you want to know what I want to do? And this big electric laugh, smile, like, yeah, Donna, that's what I'm asking you. I was like, okay. And then I said something that I never thought I would say. First of all, I'm in front of God, the creator of the universe, and he's asking me if I want to go back. And I'm in this love and bliss, and I'm thinking to myself, there is no way, a million years, I want to go back. But I say, since you made me, I give that choice to you. And then the most incredible thing happened. It was like I had to wait. And I had to, when you give away your choice like that, because people have said, no, that was your choice. Your choice was to give the choice to him. I try to describe this to people, and I'm like, you don't understand. It's like you have a box of chocolate like Forrest Gump, and you get to choose. I'll have the coconut. Instead, I say, oh, no, you choose which one. What happens is that you go into the unknown. You do not know what's going to happen next because you gave away, am I going to live or die, or am I going to continue death, or whatever is going on. And so I went, oh, shit. Do you know what you just did? And then I realized I just said, oh, shit, in front of God. And people have a problem with me saying shit in front of God. And I'm like, he loves me. He knows me. He knows the essence of me. So it's not like he condemned me or I'm going to hell or, it's like, oh shit, I said shit in front of God. God, I'm sorry I said that. He's laughing. And then I had to wait. And in that wait, I don't know if it was 3 seconds or 3 million years. There's no time there. I had to wait. So I heard, you will know the value of surrender. And I absolutely know what surrender means. It means you give your choice away. You don't have a choice. You don't know what's coming next. And then I hear, you will go back and you will tell people about the choice. And it didn't dawn on me that I heard, you'll go back. I'm still thinking I'm waiting for this. Well, I give the choice to you. And I'm like, okay. And you will go back and you explain to people the power of choice. And choice means, like, in every moment of your existence, you have choice. And people think, oh, it's just the choice of what I wear for today or what I'm going to eat. No, it's like every moment of a thought is a choice. And it's choosing how you think about people, or as someone's having a conversation, you're thinking in your head. You're going, well, I believe this, I don't believe this, or this guy is crazy, or this is wonderful, it's life-changing. You have this choice, and with it comes an energetic consequences. To be like, if I'm sitting there and I think I used on the video, I said you're in the coffee shop and you see someone that they're kind of you're considering how you're going to feel about someone. And as soon as you make that choice, like, oh, their clothes don't match, or it carries an energy that has its effect throughout the universe. And so I come back to try to tell people, be mindful of how you think. Be mindful of every moment of how you feel or what energy you put out in the world from your heart. Because that's what you're going to bring to the other side. You're going to bring your heart to the other side. And so I'm sitting there, I'm getting these lessons in choice and surrender. And while I'm waiting to find out if I'm going to be dead, or what the heck is happening. So I'm kind of feel like I'm tethered up into wherever the place I am. Because it felt like I became untethered. And I didn't expect that. I didn't know what that was. But I felt myself falling back to earth. And I'm like, okay. And I hear, and everybody cracks up about this, but I actually heard God say, good answer. As I'm falling back, a good answer. And then I snap back into my body that is dead. So I'm in this place of what just happened and what is going to happen, because I'm hearing the boat. I'm still being dragged, drug underwater. And I hear the boat stop. And I go, oh, I'm going to live. And so I have my life jacket on. So I start heading up to the surface. And I thought, how are they going to get the rope out of my leg? Because it strangled it to the bone. I don't think people realize what that meant. It meant to the bone. That means that nylon, if you ever try to tighten nylon so that it's tightened to the bone. And I thought, it's never going to come undone. As soon as I had that thought, it came undone. And I asked a couple of physics professors that taught with me at the college, and I gave them all I gave them my weight, the miles per hour, what the power of the engines were. And they said it was impossible for that rope to come undone. So the rope came undone. I feel hands under my armpits. I'm being brought to the surface. And when I get to the surface, and I have to expel all this water, and I just felt like, this feeling of someone's helping me get rid of this water. I'm just getting rid of the water. And my sister's seeing all of this. Now she's back at where we left, right? So where it took off. But she's swimming like a mad woman across the lake, and she's saying to herself, I asked her later, what were you thinking? She said, I'm watching my husband kill my sister. Now, that wasn't the intent, but that's what her thoughts were. So she's swimming, just like a mad woman. So when I came to the surface, she wasn't there because she's still swimming. And so I'm getting rid of all this water, and I look down at my leg, and all I see is like my quad, this skinny part in my calf. So I thought my leg was cut in half. I thought it was amputated. So I grabbed my calf thinking, if I kick or twitch, my leg's going to fall off, and I want to have it with me at the emergency room. Maybe they could reattach it. So I grab it onto my calf, and my sister is swimming up to me, and I'm yelling, "Don't look at my leg, don't look at my leg." And she looks at my leg, and she starts screaming. And we hear the boat start up again, and there's other things that happen, but basically he takes off. And there we are out on the lake, my sister and I. And I start telling her, look, I'm probably going to go into shock. Just grab my leg. Because if I pass out, I want somebody to have my leg. We're out on the lake, and now we have to wait for my brother to come back. So we're talking, I'm crying, I'm yelling for my dad. Daddy, which making my sister cry and blah, blah, blah. So my brother-in-law finally comes back out with the boat, and he's coming up to us, and I said, don't look at my leg. He looks at my leg, and for a big guy, he's 6'2" or something, he looks at my leg, and he's starting to come off the boat, and I go, don't get off the boat, don't pick me up, he was going to try to put me in the boat. I said, if you lift me out of the water, my leg's going to fall off. So my sister held onto a rope. She's got me by the life jacket, and he starts towing us back in. And when we get to the dock, I'm trying to help get up on the dock and lay there and pack my leg. I said, go get ice, pack my leg in ice. And I realized that it wasn't amputated, but strangled. And so my leg started to swell. And I go, oh man, you guys, get me ice, get me ice. And it took 45 minutes for that paramedic ambulance to get there. So I'm in and out. I'm having a tough time. And when we get to the emergency room, my leg is now swollen. They know how much lake water that I swallowed. And those lakes in northern New York are full of giardia. So they were more concerned about making sure I had antibiotics. So they pack my wound, they dress it, they bandage it, they give me antibiotics and send me home. It's like, not much we can do. And I thought, well, what if it swells too much? Don't you cut the swelling? Don't you? And I figured at that point, just take me back to the cabin. If anything happens, I'll take care of it. Just give me a knife, whatever, And so that's what I was left with, this really bad leg wound that I had to deal with while it healed. The doctors were like, how are you alive? How are you not drowned? The tow rope should have ruptured my femoral artery. And it should have. I don't know why it didn't, but I'm left with I had to deal with the nerves regenerating. I had to deal with not great circulation. I've had a knee replacement. So I got this great scar. I got a scar from the rope burn, from the strangulation that goes around my leg this way. And then I have for my new knee, I have from the surgery, a scar going this way. So it looks like a cross. And when people don't believe me, I say, well, let me show you my leg. Why would I make this up?
Oh, exactly.
If I made this up, why didn't I see what I wanted to see, or why didn't I see what I thought I was going to see? None of that happened.
Well, Donna, that is such an incredible story and such a horrific accident. So the first thing I want to ask you is, how's your leg today, and also how are your lungs?
Both bad. My leg is, I have it. I haven't had to have it amputated, but it's, I can't run. I can't ski. I can't do much activity with it. I just kind of drag it around. And my lungs are like you, People don't understand how nice it is to be able to breathe. So...
Right, we were talking earlier that I have some asthma that I'm battling.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so I have all kinds of medicine that I have to take to be able to breathe every day, and I got my inhalers and my nebulizers and, all that stuff.
Well, Donna, I have a lot more questions about your story, but let's take that into part 2.
You bet. Thanks, Heather. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks so much for joining me on Beyond with Heather Tesch. That was part 1. Make sure to listen to part 2. And if you liked what you heard, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more episodes.